This translates to roughly 5 million metric tons of supply annually, making LPG a prime and viable space for new investments and growth in the years ahead. It goes without saying that this increase in LPG access will require millions of new LPG cylinders, which can and must be produced locally. In May 2024, the President Tinubu commissioned 3 landmark gas projects, comprising 2 processing plants and a gas pipeline project. The 200 million standard cubic feet per day AHL gas processing plant 2, which expanded its existing Kwale gas processing plant, the 300 million scf per day annual gas processing plant to process non-associated gas into dry gas, condensate, and LPG, and a 23 kilometers annual OB3 gas pipeline project, which will deliver up to 600 million scf of gas into the domestic market. Furthermore, in January 2025, the NNPC Limited and its partners broke ground on 5 mini LNG plant projects in Ajaokuta, Kogi State, with a combined capacity of 97 million standard cubic feet of gas production per day. These plants, when completed, will enable delivery of much needed gas to fuel homes, businesses, industries, and power plants, especially in the underserved areas of our country. Ajaokuta, as you all know, is the takeoff point of the AKK gas pipeline, which, when completed, will be our country's largest domestic gas pipeline infrastructure, positioning hitherto underserved areas, especially across the northern part of our country, to transform this zone into a world-class industrial zone. In August 2025, we saw the historic signing of the 20-year gas supply agreement with 6 upstream producers to secure the delivery of about 1.3 BCF per day of feed gas to the Nigerian LNG limited plants. The NLNG itself, as you know, is in the middle of its biggest expansion so far, with Train 7 expected to raise capacity by 35% to about 30 million metric tons per annum of production. And just yesterday, we received the exciting news of the final investment decision made by Shell and their partners, Sunlink Limited, on the HI Field project. This brings to 2 the number of major non-associated gas projects enabled by the fiscal incentives rolled out last year by this administration under the Presidential Directive 40. The first one being, of course, the Ubeta gas project, which is currently under construction. These projects will significantly strengthen the reliability of Nigeria's LNG export to the global market while expanding LPG supply for domestic use, thus, of course, reducing imports, boosting foreign exchange earnings, and advancing clean cooking access for millions of Nigerian households. And this is only the beginning. More FIDs are in the horizon, proving that with the right policies in place, investment and impact will surely follow. With all the above, it is clear that Nigeria's aspirations to be a global industrial hub are now within our reach. The industrial Nigeria of our dreams is taking shape before our very eyes, and gas in its many forms will be pivotal fuel, both as a raw material as well as a source of power. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot have a conversation about gas without touching on safety and standards. We have a collective responsibility to ensure the highest possible standards are adhered to in gas processing, in its storage, distribution, and of course, usage. We must constantly adopt and maintain global best practices. This is the only way to protect this industry and earn the unwavering trust of consumers and our people in general. Failing to do so will severely hurt the industry and set us back significantly, a prospect we cannot afford. The federal government is committed to working very closely with NLCGA and other stakeholders in this area, ensuring that as a sector that grows, so does its safety. Beyond safety, of course, we also are determined to create and sustain a stable and transparent regulatory environment that is focused on incentivizing private sector-led investment and innovation. Our ongoing reforms are testament to this determination. In closing, I will reiterate a point I have always made about the place of gas in Nigeria. Gas is truly the lifeblood of our economy, as it is abundant, indispensable, versatile, and transformational. Expanding access to liquefied uncompressed gases is not merely about energy, it is about fulfill personal, collective, and national dreams. The dreams of jobs, skills, electricity, and mobility for our people, and very importantly, healthier and better lives. Every additional molecule of gas, cylinder, filling plant, distribution point, and converted vehicles represents an empowering transformation for our people and a new milestone on our energy transition journey. Together, let us build a vibrant, safe, innovative, and globally acknowledged gas industry for Nigeria. This conference is no doubt another step towards that shared vision, and I once again thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this conversation. I wish you all a very fruitful deliberation and impactful outcome. Signed, Mrs. Oluvahayan, Special Advisor to the President on Energy. Thank you for your time.
Yes, without a doubt, all hands must be on deck as we continue to chart a course for energy transition. And yes, the focus is on making a gas-powered economy in Nigeria a reality. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Lateef Biobaku, thank you for delivering those words on behalf of the Special Advisor on Energy to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mrs. Oluvahayan. Please extend our warm regards to her, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we also have another special address coming up right about now. And yes, the Authority Chief Executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Engineer Farouk Ahmed, will be speaking to us. And yes, to deliver that special address on his behalf, please make welcome the Executive Director, Distribution Systems, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure, DSSRI, NMDPRA, Mr. Ogbugo Ukohai. Round of applause for him. Yes, stairs that way will just be fine. Please keep the applause coming until he gets here. It's always a joy to listen to the regulators of the industry speak. And yes, this promises to be exciting. Thank you, sir. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Let me begin by first commending the association led by my brother Felix Ekundayo for putting together this very rich platform where ideas are ventilated and harvested for the benefit of the industry. Let me also make a confession that given the tone that Felix has set, I came here, I'll do something I never do. I came here with a prepared speech, but I'm going to just keep that aside and speak extempore. And I hope that I don't speak myself into, because clearly he has already set some landmines, which I will do very well to avoid. Yesterday, I was addressing the African Refiners and Distribution Association LPG conference in Zambia, but I was doing that virtually. I began my presentation by acknowledging the International Energy Agency's recent report that concluded that out of every four out of every five sub-Saharan households were still cooking with traditional fuel. And globally, 2 billion, representing a quarter of the world's population, was also not accessing contemporary cooking fuel. Having acknowledged that, I said to them, I do not intend to leave you with a gloomy picture. And that's what I want to say to you today. I went forth to then highlight what achievements we've had in the last 4 years and what more work needs to be done. So I will take you through the same journey, even though that wasn't the speech I prepared. In 2021, when the authority was established, following the passage of the PIA, one of our earliest tasks was to begin by trying to realign the legacy regulations we inherited from 3 agencies that were then integrated into one. In the final analysis, we drafted and gazetted over 30 regulations. I'm not seeing any handshakes, any claps. 30 regulations. Felix spoke about how overregulated the industry may be now. But what he failed to tell us is that out of the alleged 65 charges, many may well be state or non-state actors. I said I will stay away from troublesome issues, but maybe the lawyer in me will tell you today, we should get to the point where when you think something is illegal, for you as operators to also challenge them and go to the courts and ask for interpretation. That's what I would like to recommend to many people. We should begin to test the PIA. This is 4 years. It's already ripe for even a legislative review. There is nothing wrong with an operator going to the court and asking it, please interpret this provision for us. So, first of all, I spoke about the regulations. Second of all, as a good news of what we have achieved in these periods, there is a transformational increase in the storage capacity. In fact, in the capacities across the whole value chain within the last 4 years. We're seeing huge infrastructure development within the value chain in the last 4 years. Take, for instance, something as simple as the LPG storage facilities. We've moved from 93,000 metric tons of storage to about 93,000 to about 143,000 metric tons. And when I speak about 143,000 metric tons, I'm only speaking of those ones that hold valid current licenses. Indeed, this number is much more than that. If you were to add, for instance, NMPC storages that are out of license, if you were to add those that are still at construction and pre-commissioning stages, this number will be far from that. Are we where we want to be? No. Indeed, the target set by decade of gas for storage is about 750,000 for 2030 or 2040. So we have our goal set ahead of us. Gas processing. An earlier speaker spoke about ANOR gas that will be due for commissioning shortly. We're seeing an increase in gas processing facilities being built up and all. Thirdly, consumption is also increasing. And these are deliberate efforts by government to engender and foster consumption of gas. In LPG alone, we inherited by 2021 0.4 MTPA consumption. That has grown to 1.8 MTPA as we speak. That is very traditional. Fourthly, and I'm happy that my brother also highlighted this, the PIA, the MDGIF, as a directorate within the authority. In just about roughly a year of operationalization, the MDGIF has disbursed to 16 projects. Felix, I'm sure if I said hundreds of billions of naira, that would be right. Never been seen in Nigeria. This is the first, it's unprecedented. We need to be acknowledging this progress that we're making. Finance for energy is a critical issue. In the last report by IEA, the good news is that they are also working and we're collaborating with all these people. In their last Paris summit, certain countries in Africa committed to providing finance in the tune of $2.2 billion. We're working towards making sure that Nigerians also can access this kind of funds. Let me also then highlight that, reinforce what Felix also spoke earlier on. The minister issued us a marching order to see that, and it's very ironical, how local production of LPG, for instance, equals local consumption. But 50% of consumption is by import. I don't know if you can do the maths and understand the irony in the logic. You're producing enough for your consumption, but you're importing half of that. And we were given matching instruction to make sure that domestic production must be, as a matter of priority, pushed into the local market before any export will be allowed. What did we discover as we went into that? Some of the IOCs, the issues were that, our production of the blending ratio does not meet the local consumption of 80-20 propane-butane, and so it needs to be reblended. And we said, yes, let it be reblended. We also found out, and this is an appeal I would like to make to all the operators here, that even the pricing of LPG was based on import parity. When the PIA provides that every product sold in the industry must be cost reflective. Cost reflective, which means actual costs. You cannot take the local one and blend the pricing with the imports. That's wrong. But the good news again is that we're beginning to see an increase in that domestication. And as we keep pushing more products to the local market, as the consumption keeps growing, we will see that price will also ultimately stabilize. Let me also mention, as another good news, the authority in January this year issued the first phase of gas distribution licenses. This is a real game changer. We're preparing to go to the second phase. For those who we have issued these licenses, the conditions include that they must build distribution pipelines across their gas distribution areas so that at the last mile, you can turn your taps, turn your cookers, your stoves, and get gas. Indeed, they must, within the first and second year, even enable the construction of mother and daughter stations for CNG. So this is a real game changer within the gas space. Let me also then mention that if you aggregate all that I have mentioned, you would find that we're making great progress from the government perspective. We are collaborating with the private sector to see that all this is achieved in the nearest future. But does that mean that as work in progress, we do not have more to do? There's still a lot to be achieved. We need to do more to see that LPG cylinders are manufactured and recertified in Nigeria regularly. The good news again, we're hearing NMPC say that the Train 7 is nearing completion. The AKK is nearing completion, and they've achieved the major problem that they had with the OB3 crossing the Niger. Hopefully, this is a major driver. If the AKK is operationalized and completed, it will take gas from down south up country, and that will help with all this. Even the CNG we're talking about now, we will have to begin to change the models, because you can then take straight, download straight from the pipeline that is very close to you. The Train 7 as well, I'm happy to see Akachukwu here. Train 7 is work in progress. These are real drivers for transforming the gas space in Nigeria. As a priority for us as well, the strategic reserve is something that the authority is poised to operationalize at the earliest opportunity. We also need, as I spoke to other regulators in Africa yesterday, to begin to work towards harmonizing the regional standards for the whole, both the gas and the equipment. In that way, it can make it easier for production and sale across borders. And finally, let me just say to everyone that is here that the authority will continue to work with every stakeholder to see that the benefits of the PIA and Mr. President's mandates are achieved. Already, Mr. President has continued to set the pace for the achievement of that. As his executive order that was issued last year opened up the space to unlock many of the incentives. We can see that with CNG, the tax duties are now taken away. So for me, when I examine and look forward to this industry, I see that it's a very positive picture, and that is what I'd like to lend to every stakeholder. That is what will take us to the promised land for gas. As we increase the gas production, the storage, the transportation, the distribution, and the consumption, so we will begin to see a dial down on the white products and the consequent improvements in terms of environment and safety. And on that note, I'd like to thank the organizers of this and to wish everybody very profound discussions and deliberations, and hope that we'll get feedbacks as well. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, because I'm standing here, you will know that this is unscripted. As the ED of NMDPRA was unscripted, I need to make this clarification as well. He's very, very right. The NMDPRA is often conflated to be the only regulator of the industry. They are not. They are our primary regulator. So he's 100% correct. In my speech, the clarification is this. The increase has been solely local government. We've gone up from 30 licenses and permits from local governments to 47. The increase have not been federal government, they have actually been local government permit increases. So if that is reported, then please include that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President NLCJ, for that clarification. And yes, the regulatory landscape is indeed evolving, and thankfully, NMDPRA is keeping abreast of all the trends. Thank you very much. The ED, DSSRI, NMDPRA, thank you for speaking those words on behalf of the NMDPRA ACE. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have in the hall the Executive Chairman and CEO, Presidential CNG Initiative, Barrister Ismail Uba Ahmed. Round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. It's an honor to have you with us today. Also joining us, we have a past president, NLCJ, and GMD CEO, Bana Energy Limited, Mr. Nu Yakubu. Thank you, sir. You're most welcome. First Vice President, NLCJ, and MD LGV Gas, Mr. Femi Fanoki. You're most welcome. Thank you very much, sir. All right, we're moving very, very quickly to the goodwill message. And yes, the Executive Director, MDGIF, Mr. Oluwole Adama, has a goodwill message for us. That will be delivered by the Deputy President, NLCJ. Please make welcome Mr. Ladi Falola. Round of applause for him as he takes the stage to deliver this goodwill message on behalf of the Executive Director of the Midstream Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to stand on existing protocols, please. Goodwill message by the Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, Mr. Oluwole Adama, at the 15th NLCJ Conference and Exhibition. I'm pleased to bring you the warm greetings and the message of goodwill from the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, and especially welcome representatives from across the natural gas value chain, upstream producers, operators of gas processing, transportation and distribution systems, regulators, financial institutions, equipment manufacturers and suppliers, technology providers, civil society, and the media. Your presence demonstrates the shared commitment we need to meet today's challenges, create value from opportunities, and sustain economic development. As we gather here today for the 15th NLCGA Conference and Exhibition, we acknowledge the vital role this conference plays in driving energy security of Nigeria. And I have no doubt that the drive to foster innovation, encourage collaboration, and promote sustainable energy solutions across the nation, as espoused by the NLCJ, is genuine. This is not surprising because the theme of this conference, gas, economic diversification, and private sector growth, resonates with the current reality of Nigeria. That is, capitalizing on the abundance of gas resources in Nigeria, embracing its global acceptance as a dependable transition fuel, and its multifaceted application for driving economic growth, either as a precursor for producing other commodities or as a cleaner and affordable energy source. There is no better time than now. Natural gas plays a pivotal role in Nigeria's energy mix, whether in liquefied or compressed form. It is crucial for providing reliable electricity, powering industries, and supporting economic growth. This is attested to by the special focus placed on it by His Excellency, President Assiociation Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, through his reforms to support gas exploration, production, processing, transportation, distribution, and last-mile delivery. This conference aligns with the federal government's commitment to create an environment that fosters investments, encourages gas monetization, promotes sustainable gas utilization practices, and aligns national goals with private sector resources to build energy infrastructure and ensure a prosperous future. With this conviction, I posit that as we engage in discussions today, insights will be shared, partnerships will be forged, solutions will be provided, challenges will be transformed to opportunities, investments will be catalyzed, and economic growth will take center stage. Before I conclude, I would like to thank the organizers, sponsors, speakers, and participants for their commitment and hard work, and use this opportunity to once again reiterate the commitment and readiness of the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund to collaborate and partner with willing, discerning, and committed operators to support the growth of gas infrastructure in Nigeria. This conference is a desirable first step to support unlocking Nigeria's gas market potential and driving growth through the energy sector. We applaud the NLCGA for providing this forum to network, deliberate, and come up with actionable outcomes that will address key challenges and X-ray opportunities for industry growth and the economic development of Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless us all. Oluwole Adama, Executive Director, MDGIF.
Without a doubt, the provision of adequate energy infrastructure remains a critical success factor in ensuring economic diversification and private sector growth. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for those words delivered on behalf of the Executive Director, MDGIF. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, we'd also take words from yet another All right. Please join me to welcome for the keynote address the General Manager, Commercial, Nigeria LNG Limited, Engineer Timothy Fakroga. A round of applause for him as he takes the stage. That was the slight change to the order of proceedings. So just in case you were wondering why that was going on. All right, thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome.
Thank you. I had to do a tete-a-tete with the president because I was told initially that the keynote address was to be taken out, so I just have it on my phone. So just bear with me. I would have also loved to just make it like a talk-through without reading, but as I'm not prepared for that, I will just have to read. So permit me to therefore do the reading. Distinguished President of Nigerian Liquefied and Compressed Gas Association, NLCGA, Mr. Felix Ekundayo, the Governing Council, members of NLCGA, industry leaders, stakeholders, and esteemed guests, good afternoon. Actually, it's good morning here, but it's not good afternoon. And welcome to the 15th NLCGA Conference and Exhibition. So it's an honor to give the keynote address on behalf of the MD CEO of Nigeria LNG, Dr. Philip Ushabela, who is unable to be here due to prior commitments. Let me start by offering my sincere appreciation to the President and to the Association, NLCGA, for organizing this annual conference. This isn't just another event, it's a vital platform that consistently drives the most crucial conversations we need to have right now. Those surrounding energy security, economic transformation, and sustainable development in Nigeria. The NLCGA has truly played a central transformative role in moving Nigeria's gas industry forward since its establishment. Through tireless collaboration, strategic advocacy, and public awareness campaigns, you have championed the safe, affordable, and widespread use of LPG across our nation. Even more commendable is your bold support, your bold vision for Nigeria, other energy transition and evolution beyond just LPG. That's not just great work, that's visionary leadership. The theme of this year's conference, Gas, Economic Diversification, and Private Sector Growth, perfectly captures the essence of our current moment. It is incredibly relevant as the role of gas is fundamentally redefined, both here and globally. We are undeniably in a pivotal era of transformation. Nations everywhere are navigating complex transitions from energy supply shifts and climate imperatives to geopolitical changes and rapid technology. In response, economies are pivoting towards models that prioritize diversification and resilience. In this evolving landscape, natural gas has emerged as a central pillar. It is not just a cornerstone of the energy transition, it's a powerful driver of broader economic growth and a strategic asset for sustainable development. Nigeria's economic story is, for better or worse, deeply intertwined with oil. For decades, oil revenues have been our financial bedrock. However, the signs are now unmistakable. The volatility of oil markets, the accelerating climate crisis, and the global shift towards decarbonization make it clear that Nigeria cannot rely on crude oil alone. Economic diversification is no longer a policy option. It is a national imperative. And when you look across our available resources, natural gas stands out as the most immediate and powerful resources capable of driving this economic transformation. We are incredibly well endowed with more than 200 trillion cubic feet of proven reserves. We hold one of the largest gas reserves on the continent and globally. Yet, this brings us to the fundamental question we must face today. Are we truly leveraging these massive endowments for the national development of our people? I want to state a powerful truth. Gas in the ground doesn't change lives. It is gas in the pipeline, in the power plants, in the factory, and in homes. That is the true engine of transformation. The potential of gas for Nigeria is not just undeniable. It is the most immediate and powerful catalyst we possess for revolutionizing our national economy. We are in the decade of gas, and we must see it not merely as a commodity, but as a foundational pillar for national development across 4 critical sectors: industry, transport, cooking, and power. First, on the industry. With strategic investment in gas processing and distribution, we can unlock industrial zones built around petrochemicals, fertilizers, methanol, and urea. These aren't just products, they are jobs, they are value chains that will stimulate agribusiness and boost our food security. Second, households. Over 70% of Nigerians still lack access to clean cooking, mostly in our rural areas. By accelerating LPG penetration, we improve health outcomes, reduce deforestation, and create a thriving downstream distribution sector. This is how we progress towards SDG 7, access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy for all. From humble beginnings, we have now achieved an estimated 1.5 million metric tons, but the untapped potential is immense. Third, power. Our power sector remains a bottleneck to industrial growth. Gas to power is the quickest and most scalable solution to close our electricity gap, improve productivity, and drive competitiveness across every sector from manufacturing to ICT. And fourth, transport. Gas for transport, including compressed natural gas, CNG, has the potential to revolutionize Nigeria's mobility sector while creating thousands of new jobs. Realizing this potential is not without significant challenges, with the most critical constraint being the infrastructure gap. Underdeveloped gathering facilities, limited pipeline networks, and inadequate storage capacity continue to hinder efficient distribution. Furthermore, investment is costly. The required capital for terminals, bottling plants, refueling stations, conversion kits can be prohibitive. And for many low-income households, affordability remains a barrier. The upfront cost of LPG cylinders and CNG conversions is simply out of reach, despite the incentives we have put in place. Beyond cost, a large segment of the population remains hesitant due to lack of familiarity and safety concerns rooted in misinformation. But these are not insurmountable problems. On the positive side, investor confidence is gaining momentum, with a surge of interest from both domestic and international players. Innovation is reshaping the landscape through modular and decentralized gas technologies, which reduce infrastructure bottlenecks and accelerate access. As of 2024, over 500 million worth of investments have been as a result of government efforts. Equally encouraging is the growing spirit of collaboration across the industry and a steady rise in domestic demand for gas across all sectors. Crucially, we have growing political will reflected in targeted policy initiatives like the National Gas Expansion Program, the Presidential CNG Initiative, and the Zero VAT on domestic LPG. These measures are helping to unlock investments and signal a clear direction. These policies are steps in the right direction, but they require collaboration, capital, and commitment to materialize. This is where the private sector comes in. The private sector innovates, invests, and takes risks that turn policy into prosperity. Your members, the NLCGA, have been the backbone of Nigeria's LPG transformation, building the industry from the ground up, from upstream terminals to downstream distribution, bottling plants, and cylinder networks. This represents the kind of bold action that drives real change. I think really is worth applauding. LNG is proud to stand with you. We are the largest supplier of LPG to the domestic markets, helping to reduce imports, stabilize supply, and drive the adoption of cleaner cooking fuels in millions of Nigerian homes. Gas is not some distant dream for Nigeria. It is our present opportunity. The most crucial energy transformation is the domestic natural gas value chain. We have the data, we know the potential. Now we must move from dialogue to action, fueled by capital and commitment. To our strategic partners, to the private sector leaders, and to the international investors, in this room, I issue a direct and urgent invitation. The time to invest in Nigerian gas infrastructure is now. NLNG will continue to guarantee supply to stabilize domestic prices. The nation requires the private sector to finance and execute the necessary expansion across production, processing, logistics, distribution, and last mile access, particularly for
right? If you begin to adopt, be it auto gas for logistics businesses, and that's why you see the likes of Dangote,
The time that the prior session was of great importance to us, and we hopefully would be able to follow through with regards to that and seeing opportunities for financing for our members as well as women in general. So I'll stop at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to go on to Ibiana now. What proportion of your services are delivered to women? And what's the single lever to improve that number, the amount of women that you are having access to training?
Okay, firstly, I'm a woman, and I have been in this sector. Even before running this company, I had been in the energy sector. As my previous life, I was the head of HR, oil and gas, then in the power sector. And so coming to run my own business, I could see some of the issues that women face. And so looking at this sector and how you could support women, it starts from the girl child all the way to the end. So we participate in programs, in some schools, because today, and also tying it to the last part you said, how can the numbers increase? So I would say everything at the same time, to use time more effectively. To get the numbers to increase, and what we do is participating with a lot of collaboration, you get more done. So you have WEOG, you have WEN, you have APWEM, you have a lot of associations that are focused on, and we have women in NLCGA, So there are a lot of programs going on. We have Women Renewable, so we work with them, and we do these programs. So that's one aspect. When we do programs, because I'm a woman too, you would discount for women, because the woman wants to access it, because they will tell you, I want to do this course. You will do that. Then another aspect that I do a lot of mentoring for women, and of course this mentoring women in careers or business, and it's women at probably getting into managerial role, women trying to get into the C-suite role, because sitting as a previous head of HR, you know the kind of conversations that go in there. Also, there's also supporting women in business, because I have run my business for 8 years. Funding, financing, access, and many times women run away from the technical numbers, getting their books, the rigor, technical. So these are many areas where we can support. And to increase the number is a lot of collaboration, and we have to work together. And there's actually a lot of collaboration going on now, and a lot of support for women, actually. Thank you.
Sibylla, as Executive Secretary of WIN LPG, tell us about the network, why joining is a career-critical move for women and the industry.
Thank you very much, Moyo. Women in LPG is an initiative of the World Liquid Gas Association. Permit me to tell you the story. So in 2015, the World Liquid Gas Association, they recognized the opportunity to kind of solve the diversity issue in a male-dominated LPG industry. So as a global voice for the industry, the World Liquid Gas Association, they launched Women in LPG in 2015 with a mission to support and empower women in the LPG industry. Right now, I think we have about 15 active chapters across the continent, including Nigeria, of course. We have USA, South Africa, Tanzania, India, to mention a few, and so on. So interestingly, the Nigerian chapter was launched in 2016 under the strong leadership of Mr. Dayo Adeshino. So I want to say a big thank you to the NLCGA president, the association as a whole, for always supporting the Women Network all through the years. Please, a round of applause for NLCGA, please. A round of applause. Thank you. We are grateful. So as for the importance of joining the Women Network, when you join this kind of network, you find yourself in an ecosystem where you can relate with other women in business. It creates a platform for you to learn, connect, build businesses together, grow together. You know, we provide mentorship. You build strong business relationship. So, and guess what? It is open to men and women. It's not just for women. It is open to men and women. So if you're interested in joining Women in LPG, please, you can walk up to the NLCGA stand and give them your details. Then we'll retrieve it from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sabila. So back to you, Lanka. What specific efforts does MEMAN have with women-focused organizations like Women in LPG, WeOrg, Women in Energy?
All right, thank you. I think that question is such a setup. Yeah, setting me up for. Well, I mean, MEMAN is open to collaboration. I mean, we have a slogan that says better together. We're doing a lot of things in the gas space, renewable. We've been operating in oil for quite a while. We are open to collaboration. We're doing a lot of things on the youth empowerment as well. So we'll deliberately make sure that we put up things together, capacity development, you know, being part of the conversations. So yes, that's my feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just a quick fire round, 2 minutes each. I want to know one idea that we want everyone to leave here remembering on this topic of not whether or not we should diversify, but how we can speed up this diversification process, as we know it's going to unlock economic benefits. I'll start with Ibiana.
Okay. Looking at the audience, you have various people here. You have women that are coming into their career. You have women in the career. You have women just starting or considering doing the business. Not necessarily after being retired, but just starting it because they want to own their own business. And you have women at the top. Women have peculiar issues. Women know this. And actually today, I think a lot of men are taking time to understand a lot of women issues. Now, we've heard that diversity is not just because you want to have the numbers. It brings innovation and creativity, because when you have people looking at things from two perspectives, it would always bring a better, and there's also inclusivity. So I think one thing is we need to sort of, sometimes not just because we want to meet the numbers for women, just in your own position, how are you supporting women to get those numbers? Get the numbers, because the numbers are not well represented. And if you have more women in this space, a lot more will happen. Simply because, not because we're women, simply because of diversity. You see things from two separate perspectives, and you can't take that away. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. That is so true. Tolu, the one thing.
I'll start by saying a lot of the Nigerian laws, policies, regulations were all developed by men, primarily because there were not enough women or no women in those areas when those policies, regulations, and all that were being developed. And we can see the impact that is having on our nation today. So that's case number one that we need to change. The second thing I'd like to say that it's a collective moral responsibility for all of us to do something about this. And we see it even though we don't connect the dots. The way I connect the dots is a lot of times on social media today, I see a lot of young men doing Yahoo and, you know, hustling in order to be able to meet the demands from their women. They've got to buy all these wigs and all that. It's because they want their women to look good. They want to look good for their women as well. But I always say, if the women themselves were economically empowered, there would be no reason to rely on the men to provide what you can provide. So for me, that's another angle in which I think today in Nigeria we're maybe not connecting the dots, but it's a place where you have to do something, I have to do something, and collectively we all have to do something. It's a national imperative to ensure that every woman, every girl is economically empowered to be able to do things themselves, and it would impact a lot of the economic hardship a lot of the things we hear in the media about what's injustice happening to women and all that. And I think if each and every one of us today can decide that going forward, I will be sensitive to gender diversity. I will be sensitive enough in my own space to speak up, advocate, and do something, then we're more than a long way to El Dorado. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I think it's very important that that was very important to let everyone know just your own individual act makes a huge difference, and it just joins together and brings the collective, and we'll see the movement that we really need. So Sibylle, your...
Wow, a lot has been said about diversification, and it's crystal clear that it's not just about ticking the inclusion box. It's about unlocking the full potential of human capital for economic growth. So I want to put this challenge to everyone in the hall today, especially to the business leaders, the business owners. I want to ask this question. If you discover a competent woman, will you put her forward when there's an opportunity, or will you sideline her because of agenda? So let's reflect on this and answer this question truthfully. So if your answer is a yes, that you will put her forward due to her competence, then yes, be rest assured that you're part of the people, helping the economy, growing the economy to unlock full potential for a shared prosperity for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Blanca.
Yes. Okay, so I think my message is, we've spoken a lot about what the organization should do, companies, but my message is to the women, and it's just 2 points. It's to make sure that we're part of the conversation. A lot of women have what it takes. They have the skills, the technical skills, they have the know-how, but make sure that you're part of the conversation. And the next thing, I learned this maybe my 8th year in the industry, and I haven't changed. When I joined Accela prior, I met at that time, CEO, Mr. Bolaji, and his message to me was, I don't care how you get it done, but get it done. So essentially, be result-oriented. Be result-oriented. There are a lot of excuses. As women, we have a lot of disadvantages that we've talked about in terms of, having to take time off due to nature. But we must remember that we must be result-oriented regardless of everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our panelists. As we heard from them, the route to unlocking Nigeria's economic potential is by widening the table, by taking personal accountability, and by listening to all the voices in the room, not just one, and that also goes from the top to bottom. Informal economy, formal economy, all these play a big role in gender diversification, and I'm hoping that we're all going to go forward today and make the difference that we all want to see. As we've finished in such a timely manner, we have time for some questions from the audience. Comments? Oh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When I was whispering to Felix that I needed to say something, he didn't quite understand that I was planning to set him up. So I'll please ask, Mr. President, could you please rise up? Yes. Mrs. Nkechiobi, please could you join him? Okay, so I'll do a formal introduction. My name is Joy Cheyenne. I'm the National Coordinator for the Women in LPG. And I've asked these 2 people to stand up. First of all, because Mrs. Obi is the first coordinator that we had. And a lot of the gains that we are enjoying today is because she opened that door and she encouraged and pushed us in that direction. I asked Mr. Ekundayo to stand up, and indeed the entire EXCO of the NLCJ, because over the years they have been our anchors, they have been our allies, supported us in every way, and even this panel that this elevation, this podium that we're sitting on today, it is courtesy of the NLCJ. So once again, can we please give them another round of applause? This is from us at the Women in LPG saying a very big thank you for supporting us, for holding our hands, for teaching us and letting us know that it's a collaborative effort and it's not men versus women. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Any other questions or comments?
Any questions? Okay, I will ask the president a question. Oh, Mr. Ladi Falu.
Hello, Biane, this is for you. I'm sure you're expecting this. Your company, it's called...
Energy Training Center.
Thank you.
ETC.
Okay. So I will have to see you after this. A couple of weeks ago, I was somewhere outside the country, and we were having a fire chat meeting. We were having a fire chat meeting around with some Italian oil and gas company, who also had their own Italian association, LPG, CNG, and one of the things that we took out of that small side meeting was that for the Italian people to come on, because we use the MDGIF as our big brother, that look, government is already investing in Nigerian private companies. But one thing that they brought out was that training of your people, that they need the Italian companies to have skin in the game in Nigeria before they can fund anything in Nigeria. They don't mind funding us, but they will need Italian companies. And Italian companies go, Laddie, we need to be sure of manpower. We need to be sure that. So I said, look, within the next 6 months, that's why I was really amazed I heard your company name. I'm going to find out how and who is doing training. And we're going to do it together. That's Italian NL, their own version of the NLCGA. We're going to do it together. We're going to train people together. And then with that, we can now bring your Italian companies into Nigeria and then source for your Italian money. So please, thank you. I'm going to see how we can do that with you.
Thank you very much. I also have a sister company that is Workforce. So even this pipeline and all of that, you also need it for the entire value chain.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Lucy Okeke, Senior Manager with NMDPRA and the Chairperson Women in Energy, Oil and Gas, Lagos. I see we have our National President for WEOG. We also have the National Coordinator for Women in LPG. I just want to make a comment. I would say that what I personally would like to see is more collaboration amongst these women groups. And I want to charge us here today to hold a national conference of this magnitude or even greater than this. We can target the women in industry where we can have these critical conversations if we are to be taken very, very seriously. I'm not saying we're not taken seriously, but I'm thinking it will have a lot of impact if we can come together and hold a national exhibition and conference such as this, where women in academia, girls in academia, women in business, women in industry, and can come and showcase what they have, exhibit, and we can get the support of our men as well. So that's just my comment. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Any other hand? Okay, I think not. All right. So, Madam Moderator, closing thoughts?
I think pardon? Okay, all right. Okay, well, thank you very much, ladies, for today and all the insights and your feedback as well. I think let's just go forth and do the work. We talk so much, we don't take action. So let's see how before the 16th NLCGA conference, we can stop talking about widening the table and just start talking about how we are seeing the economic benefits of that widened table and accessing all the different aspects of our society, not just one side, but the whole full spectrum of our society. Yeah, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. A round of applause to all of our panelists. Thank you. Ma'ams, please bunch up. All right, let's have a group photograph. Mr. NLCJ President, please join them as usual. Madam Honorary Treasurer, please also join them. All right. Paparazzi, that is your cue. One with, one without. So once this is done and out of the way, we move straight to session 4. All right, let's have the plaques and the gift bags. Ladies, please don't be in a hurry to leave the stage. Thank you. We have plaques and gift bags for you. One more photograph with the plaques, please. Thank you. That's the pattern we established in the morning, so there should be equality. All right, paparazzi, that is your cue. Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you for adding your voices to the conversation. Thank you for enriching the discourse. And yes, we look forward to seeing you next year. All right. That was session 3, increasing economic prosperity through gender diversification. And yes, we move straight to the final session for day 1 of the 15th conference and exhibition hosted by the NLCGA. And yes, our speakers are ready and raring to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome our first panelist for session 4. She is the founder, Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Techno Oil Limited. Please make welcome Mrs. Nkechi Obi OON. A round of applause for her as she takes the stage. Preferably that way, ma'am. Please keep the applause coming until she gets on stage. Thank you very much, ma'am. Not the first seat. Yes, exactly. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you this day. Ladies and gentlemen, please also join me to welcome the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Bana Energy Limited, Mr. Nuhu Yakubu. Past President, NLCGA, thank you very much. He's also joining us for this session as our second panelist. Thank you, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Right beside Mrs. Obi will just be fine. Also join me to welcome our next panelist, the head of finance, Rain Oil Gas Limited, Elizabeth Akinkporoye. Round of applause for her as she takes the stage. Right beside Mr. Yakubu will just be perfect. Thank you very much, ma'am. It is an honor to have you with us today. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, also joining this panel session is none other than the Executive Director, Gas, Power and Renewable Energy, AYM Shafa Holdings Limited, Engineer Terima Denen Torila. A round of applause for him as he takes the stage. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you join us today. So I've not been advised that he's here, but because of past experience, I've missed out his name once or twice in the past. He usually sits in the back. Is the founder and chief executive Hyde Energy, Mr. Dimeji Edwards, by any chance in the room? Okay, I just want to be sure I don't do that a third time. He always comes in and sits at the back and we can't find him when we should. All right, I just wanted to be sure that we wouldn't miss anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the full complement of our panel on stage, and yes, all our panelists are seated, ready and raring to go. To drive the conversation for this panel session, please join me to welcome the Managing Director, Strategic Energies, also past President, NLCGA, Mr. Dayo Additional. Round of applause for him, a renowned LPG expert and passionate environmentalist. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Right beside me will just be fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Session 4, right about now, it starts. Dangote Refinery, local production paradigm shift and impact. Full compliments of the panel, already seated. Mr. Moderator, seated. Mr. Moderator, let the conversation begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have a panel that can boast of experience, knowledge, and scars from this industry, having impacted severely over the years and been in the trenches. So, well, we start with ladies first. We're talking about Dangote. There's a refinery, a producer, ability to put about 300,000 tons a year into the market. Unfortunately, it has been more disruptive than the intervention that we hoped for, which is not a bad thing, because other refineries would come up and other producers would come up. But then, if you look at our entire market potential, 5 to 10 million tons, 300,000 is a drop in the ocean. And if today the market is at about 1.3 million tons, how come there's such massive hula bula about 300,000 tons? So I'll start with Mrs. Nkechiobi, Techno Oil. Can you please tell us how the market has been and what the impact of Dangote refinery has been to your business?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And let me start by commending the NLCGA for putting up this conference. And I think they've been, this is the 5th conference that we've been having since whatever. And they have been the voice of the LPG for the past 15 years, lending a voice. And this has kind of improved on whatever the government has done in that sector. I must say that. So the topic today, or the theme that we have today, is economic diversification and private sector, and Dangote Refinery is the subject. Well, like Dayo has mentioned, he said Dangote came in as an intervention, but somehow there's a kind of distortion. I don't think I want to agree with that, because Dangote Refinery for me is a landmark achievement. Dangote Refinery is more than refining. And I can say that the topic or the theme of the subject today clearly suits what Dangote is doing. And what is Dangote doing? Is a diversification, a private sector that has diversified and that has done so much in terms of reducing our foreign exchange spending or what? Imports of petroleum products, forests, job creation, and these are all what he has done. But then, let me go back to the numbers that Dayo threw up. We started, the numbers were about 150, I think, either 14 years ago, before the LNG came on and domesticated some volumes to the industry. We started with, I think, about either 150,000 metric tons. Today, we are up to about 1.5 million tons that we are doing. And Dangote, I don't know what the volume is, and I can't say what his volume is. So let me stay within our sector. But what I'm trying to say here is Dangote has he has just come in. He has been in the industry now. I think he started either is it August or what? It's about a year he started in. And definitely there has to be some distortions. There has to be some distortions. So what I think Dangote has done for now is that, yes, there are some distortions. And it's usual. It's a normal thing that when somebody comes in, that a big elephant has come into the game, there must be some distortion. And that is what we are witnessing. But eventually it will create some opportunities for all of us. It's just for us to sit down and when the business, I was just talking about it with Nuhu this afternoon. And I said, please, I believe that possibly in the next 6 months, there will be some stability that will enable us to see some opportunities whereby we would come on. I hope I'm not taking whatever. But let me just say this, because 15 years ago, during the Obasanjo regime, there were pipeline vandalization. And that came about DAPMA that you have today. I know that there is so much that is in the air, in the media, very negative about DAPMA. But these opportunities came because there were pipeline vandalization, and then the government in power at that point decided that private depots should come on. It was a distortion. Even the IOCs, I was part of the IOCs at that. I was with ExxonMobil at that point. And they didn't find it funny when the private sector came in. The indigenous sectors came in to want to take their market share. It was a big problem. And that's exactly what is happening today. But I believe that we'll overcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. When I said it was a disruption, disruptions can be positive and they can be negative. So anyway, Nuhu, you have been in the battlefield with so many of us in this association, just like Madam has. What are your thoughts about Dangote's entry?
Thank you, Mr. Adeshina. I'll write on the back of what Mr. Kuchubi has said. I think Dangote is a blessing for Nigeria and Africa as a whole. So we must, first of all, establish that today we now have a facility of that capacity operating out of Nigeria is a pride for Nigeria. And not only that, it has brought some level of stability to bear on the supply side. And that is something that calls for celebration. And all of us in this room and all players in the industry has the duty to see that Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical Plants is successful. However, it is true that disruptiveness has come with the Dangote intervention in the market. But it's largely been as a result of, and then what you might call maybe negative disruptions. But that negative disruptions, it depends on which side you're looking at, you're viewing it from. If you're a marketer, you say it is negative, whereas as a consumer, the consumer will say it's positive because price has come down, isn't it? So that's why we must all celebrate Dangote. But there's something that is not right. And what the Dangote situation throws up is this. Opaqueness in information sharing. Perhaps there's room for more openness as to how the Dangote business is impacting the market. Certainly, it is not the majority supplier to the market. Certainly not. But how is it that the single mention of Dangote throws so much fear in the market, especially amongst marketers? It's only because really about the opaqueness. Dangote is not doing, by information available to us, not doing more than 300,000 metric tons per annum, maybe less, maybe a little bit more, but averagely that. How is a 3,000 metric tons supply disrupting a 1.5 million or 1.3, even if you want to be modest to say we're even at the 1.1 million tons. So it is not really sufficient to actually throw us all off balance. I think the majority of the challenge we have in the market has been the poor segmentation, all right, where we've had the trading, marketing of gas has been big on distributorship or wholesaling, so the middle traders have found themselves holding the short end of the stick because the last mile element is really not felt amongst the big traders. So if you have a LPG business where you have well-established retail, you sort of have some fallback because Dangote or no Dangote is, you're still able to cope. But the challenge with the marketers who don't have retail presence is that when Dangote supplies the market and usually it comes with a much lower price, they're not able to take products from other sources and then that becomes a bit disruptive. All right, does it hurt? Because for the major players, we all can't deny, we play in both the retail space and the wholesale space. It can be quite hurtful when it happens, but I think it just calls for us all to adjust. And then, but in that adjustment, let us not throw the baby away with the bathwater. So I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Rain Oil, I'm sure you also have footprints all around the country. You have skids, you have a terminal. What's your own experience with the entry of Dangote?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Elizabeth Akinkoroye. I'm head of finance at Rain Oil Gas. Representing the MD of gas here, Mr. Emmanuel Omojine. Okay, so for us at Rain Oil Gas, I believe Dangote Refinery is actually, brought a lot of significant milestone to, let me just say the entire downstream value chain. Now, we see that coming on board of Dangote Refinery has actually done a lot of, help, to the industry. Now, okay, we talked about the fact that the economy's consumption is about 1.5 million, and what we've been able to harness is about, let's say, 43%. Majority of the consumption is met by import, which is about 57%. Now, yes, like my colleague here mentioned that, okay, there's about, some opaqueness about Dangote Refinery. We don't really have, the clarity about the numbers. We're saying that, okay, on a daily basis, we have 1,000 metric ton or 1,005 metric ton being produced, by Dangote Refinery, meaning that we're having an average of 365,000 metric ton thereabouts, in a year. And that's, to me, it's a kind of reduction, in imports. Now, if we had initially prior to 2023 imports being like, 60%, it means that we have actually slashed imports by more than 50%. And for us at Rain Oil Gas, prior to now, we have also been importing, LPG. But now we've done a lot of, local requests
Colonel Gas, Seplat, Platform, Pillar, and all these guys are coming onto the market that a lot of us don't even know about. We also know that Kuala Hydrocarbon is still pushing more gas into the market, and it's going to become more and more and more, because the investments in gas are front and center of the current government. The incentives have been created by the current government. So we should expect more gas coming onto the market outside of the Dangote refinery. So what we should be focusing on is what are going to be the ways in which we come up with an indigenous pricing mechanism that makes sense, that has a transparent benchmark, and that is indexed against something that we can see or that is created, so that there's transparency in the pricing. But as Dangote has first mover advantage, he will do what he chooses to do for now. But we also know that he has a capacity, and that current capacity is still short of our current demand. So we should think around that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Because we have a short time frame to conclude this session, I'd like everyone to now give us their closing thoughts as to how Dangote Refinery has affected their business on a personal level. Now again, I'll start with Mrs. Obi. Thank you.
For Dangote Refinery, yes, I understand that Dangote Refinery is a game changer in Nigeria, but at the same time, yes, we would, or personally, I would want him to show some leadership. At the moment, within the downstream, I believe Dangote Refinery is our leader, and government already, I believe, is supporting. At the same time, for my opinion, I think that because what is happening at Dangote today is exactly what is happening to us in the cylinder manufacturing, where at the end of the day, you have products, you have put so much money into building, putting an infrastructure in place, and the policy is not allowing you to breathe. That's exactly what is happening to us. So there is some level of the same distortion in the market between, because it's just that, fortunately or unfortunately, Techno Oil happens to be on the other side and the other side. So what I would advise is that there has to be a kind of backward integration in terms of what the refinery is doing. Because the only thing that can disrupt Dangote Refinery today is imports. He can be given the sole importation if there is any level of any supply gap. Dangote can be made to do that, but at the same time, he must carry along the entire value chain. What I'm trying to say, not really to play in the entire value chain, but so that, because what we have to do, what we are there for, is to complement him and not to compete with him. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. No.
Yeah, so put it simply, is Dangote is edging players out of the market. There's a lot of infrastructure build out, whether it's white products, it's gas, coastal facilities, they're just dying because Dangote's distribution model just doesn't encourage these businesses. Could they be the mother hen, and could Dangote play that role of being the mother hen to all the players that he met in the market, and find a working arrangement where it channels its product through these facilities? I think that's the discussion on the table. And then even the other issue being that of pricing, like Dimeji mentioned, the opaqueness in Dangote's pricing arrangement is, but again, we have seen this before. Recall back in the days when the refineries were working, what we call the OSP, official selling price. NNPC used to do OSP. When NPC was doing OSP,
nobody was, you couldn't know for sure how an MPC derived its OSP. So this is where the regulators have to come in, because the regulators are not they're not working and supporting the sector well enough to bring all parties to the table, whether it's regulator or presidency or the ministry, whatever. There has to be conversation at the table as to how to ensure, one, there is uniformity and acceptance amongst all players in the sector as to how big players and medium-sized players operate, so that you don't edge people out of the market and send a lot of people into the jobless market. Number two, how pricing is done, so that there's a convergence of arrangements between the big players, suppliers, as to how they formulate the pricing formula, such that Dangote himself is able to agree to it. But for now, I sense that he might not be disposed to that, because I understand that it's always been his strategy to reach out to the last mile. And so first things first, I think the default position is to plan as though he's not going to agree. And so this is my advice to my fellow marketers. Operate as though Dangote is not going to be amenable to any changes. But if he manages to do that, because there's federal government pressure brought to bear on him, or regulators' pressure is brought to bear on him, hallelujah. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
Thank you very much. So for me, I would say that we just all need to accept the fact that Dangote Refinery has come to stay. Like my colleague mentioned, we all need to understand that we have to build our business model so as to align with. I would say that regulators need to do more, and then players within the industry, we need to have a sort of collaboration, so that we can have, a well-stabilized price in the industry. We should also think along the line of encouraging coastal, for LPG. Have that, for LPG currently. So that's actually disrupting logistics. I mean, if Dangote is doing like 1,000 metric tons per day, and then all off-takers need to, evacuate products via trucks, it's actually a lot. So it's really, disrupting logistics distribution. So if that can also be, addressed, it will actually go a long way to achieving the goal and then the agenda of the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Toila.
Okay, thank you. So when the product is available at the refinery, I'm talking specifically LPG, it's all good because the pricing is good and everything is fine. But when the product is not available, it's a challenge. I must admit that challenge. And what is even more important is the information from the refinery. So if you don't have the right information, it's difficult to manage the circumstance. For example, you don't want to send your truck to go spend 10 days at the refinery without being sure when you're going to load it. It affects supply across the country, right? And for companies like ours, I've got multiple facilities across the entire country. A 1 or 2 day delay could impact significantly in how you're able to get gas to the customers. So that information needs to be there. We don't want to be speculating. Tell us we are going to be out for a week, 2 weeks. Oh, we're having this challenge. That helps the marketers to plan around and find alternatives. And I can't emphasize it enough. There's need to get involved in the industry, talk to other marketing companies to see how together we can have an industry that is more efficient, and in terms of pricing, in terms of supply reliability, and all of that. So it's good, but we need to really address those gaps that I've identified to ensure that we have a more efficient industry. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dimeji.
I think this is the reason why we have NLCGA, and that is the purpose of this group. And this group needs to organize every member in this room and figure out a way to collaborate with the refinery, period. Because we can jump up and down from now to the cows come calling, we still need to collaborate with this $20 billion factory that has only one job in life, and that is to spit out product, whether it be LPG, jet fuel, diesel, gasoline, or whatever it is. And we're relying on the association to articulate a position, obviously with the contributions from every member, to articulate how this industry needs to play out. I think it might be virtually impossible to cover the length and breadth of this country by one player. We know that that's not possible. And we also know that the refinery has a capacity. So even if it's producing at its 650,000 barrels per day maximum capacity, its LPG production is finite. We already know this. It's mathematics, right? There's only so many people that capacity can reach. We still need the additional capacity to meet the market demand of 200 million people. And the question is, who's going to bridge that gap? Which are the companies that are going to bridge that gap? And under what pricing methodology is that going to happen? And how do we protect those margins, protect our investments going forward? But the association has a lot of work to do, without any shadow of doubt. And not that they have not been doing a fantastic job thus far, but we have no other choice but to articulate as many points of views as possible to understand what is the best way possible, because this is a completely new paradigm. We have never experienced this in our recent history. Even the last 4 refineries that we're producing was never like this before, producing efficiently. So it's a new paradigm shift for everybody, entire nation, and we just need to figure out different ways around it. Thank you.
So, thank you very much to the panel. In closing, and this is my own personal view now, in a country of 210 million people, where you've gone from 750,000 tons in 2017 to 1.4 million tons at its peak, 1.4 million tons in 2022 to drop to 1.3 in 2023 and 2024. Dangote Refinery, as welcome as it is still a drop in the ocean for the market potential that this country has. Around this room, I'm sure you can't find one person that doesn't have this, a cell phone. But it wasn't the case 15, 20 years ago. We have to focus on the potential. And what's the potential? Getting more volumes, because once more volumes come into the market, that 300,000 tons that you thought was such a big impact will be totally inconsequential. So if we said 5 to 10 million tons is our goal, once upon a time, with no disrespect to NLNG, because they've taken the market before Dangote came in. Someone told me 2 weeks ago, oh, it's incredible. NLNG is the one chasing us now to come and buy product. But that wasn't the case before. So there's a lot more potential for us to focus on. Bua is building 200,000 ton capacity refinery. He's going to produce LPG as well. There's probably another, like Dimeji said, 5 to 6 producers who are putting stripping plants apart from anode gas. So those volumes will come, and by the time the volume comes, are we going to be ready for it? Because don't forget, we still don't have enough trucks. We still don't have enough filling plants. The Southwest is 60% of the market, but you have 19 northern states that have capacity. So, my own personal view, and in closing, yes, we're thankful to Dangote, but you can't keep energy security of a country in the hands of one man. It's for all of us. Thank you very much. All right, I understand we can take questions. Or comments. Well, it's to be expected. It's 4:30. You haven't served us food, so. All right, I see one hand here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me.
Your name and your
my
organization.
My name is Oga Adejo Ogiri. I'm the CEO, Highland LNG, and also the Executive Secretary of the Association of Local Distributors of Gas. I come from the natural gas industry, so permit me if my ignorance, right, as I'm not a player in the LPG space. But I've listened to the panel, and I've heard a few numbers, and I just wanted to make a comment, not a question. Emphasizing on what I think should be really, what the message we're taking out here. And thanks for making that last minute summary. The potential, because coming and listening, talking about the player that we all say 300,000 MT, 20% of current demand, right, with a latent or potential demand of 5 MT. I was wondering if even the theme of the session was appropriately phrased. But I do hear the concerns around, the disruptions, positive or negative. But the key thing is, emphasizing on that market, which you say, which I hear is there, minimum 5 million metric tons, right? And what are the things we need to do to make that market happen? I've heard some numbers today, NLNG increasing to 850. I've heard Seplat talk about some 500,000 metric tons coming to market very soon, right? How are we positioning to ensure that market, what's the word? Those volumes, come to the market, and even things around pricing. The way we have traditionally priced it, is that the most appropriate in a 5 MT market? Should we have a different pricing methodology? And I think Dimeji talked about that. So for me, sitting and listening, I see looking at it more from the opportunity, more from the potential. And just yesterday, for those who follow the entire value chain, Shell took an investment decision on an upstream project, $2 billion, that will supply gas to NLNG Train 7. Train 7 increases NLNG's capacity by 30%. So if NLNG is committing 100% LPG, so there's a 30% additional LPG coming to the market. So I saw those positives, and I just wanted to make a comment that I'm seeing a lot more volumes come, and some of these issues, right, will go away, and there will still be definitely a need for importation, from what I've seen. 5 million metric tons, even with all that, we'll still be maybe at most doing 40% of it from all these volumes coming to the market. So, lots of opportunity, and how do we ensure that we can realize that opportunity becomes a reality? So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have a gentleman at the back.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Bernard from Brain Oil Gas. So my question is around pricing. Currently, we can see that the LPG market is a bit not stable in terms of price. So my question is, with the introduction of Dangote and other local producers, do we expect the market price to stabilize, or we expect maybe just one producer like Dangote to control the price going forward? Thank you. No, to the moderator.
All right, Mr. Moderator, you have the opportunity to direct that question.
So the question is to, who wants to take the question? Who wants to answer the question? Nuhu?
Hello? Hello? Okay, it's working. Okay, I think this is what we've been talking about all evening. So it's like asking us to recap. We're not comfortable with a situation where one party determines price. But how is it so that one party is able to determine price? That's a question. And what can be done about it? I think that's a big question in the room. And the solution has been, some of the options that have been thrown up, solutions have been thrown up in this session is us coming together to engage the Dangote itself, perhaps with a moderator on the side of government or an association like this, to help rein in Dangote, pull them to the table and have a conversation around agreeing to a pricing methodology that all of us should accept. All right, so I think basically that's the consensus we have reached at this session. So it's now about the how do we go about it, all right, basically. But we're not comfortable about just one party pulling the price. But maybe with other suppliers coming to the market, that would not be. Or rather, maybe if we trigger more demand-intensive uses for gas, all right, that would make the Dangote intervention very insignificant, really. All right, if we up our demand from the current 1.5 million tons to its potential about 3 million tons to 5 million tons, the argument again is that, hey, Dangote's intervention, whether it's disruptive, whether it applies disruptive measures in its pricing, will be insignificant anyway. All right, so those are the ways to engage. Madam, you want to add the one?
Okay, just to add to what he has said, today what happens is, even though Dangote supplies like about 30% of the market, because his price is significantly lower, anytime there's product available there, everybody rushes there. This market is price sensitive. So once you've got a significant price difference, you're going to attract the consumers or the buyers to yourself. That's what happens. Now, when that source becomes unavailable, then it becomes a challenge. People have to now go back to the other sources, which largely become unavailable at the time when the primary source is available, because people abandon them. I think you said that energy was now approaching people to take LPG allocations, which wasn't the case before. Now, because why do they have to do that? Because their prices were reasonably higher than the price from Dangote. So when Dangote is not available and you have to go back to those higher prices, the prices are impacted. That's what happens. So again, the solution, like he has spelled out, is to have like a room where all stakeholders can discuss and have a pricing framework to address this challenge. If that is not done, we expect to see these spikes and declines every now and then.
Okay, thank you. I think we have just one more question, because I understand we have 5 minutes, although I can see a hand at the back. Is it a question or a comment? Okay, we'll close with you, Felix. You have 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. My name is Tukur, Sahabi Tukur from Boke. Well, I see things from a different perspective. If we agree that this country is of a population of over 210 million, and then the consumption, there is demand for the product. And what is being consumed presently is less than probably about 1 million to 1.5, thereabout. Then it means that the emergence of Dangote the emergence of Dangote would just bring in little more product in the market. The main issue here, I feel, is issue of the infrastructure to drive in the product, drive in the product. The infrastructures we have on ground with regards to logistics, with regards to storages, with regards to gas plants are not sufficient to are not sufficient to service, the population that we have on ground. So basically, if Dangote is producing 300,000 metric tons or thereabout, and LNG is also bringing, that is not sufficient enough, being that we are looking at 5 million tons per annum. You understand? So basically, it's not the product it's not what Dangote produces, but the infrastructure that we have on ground is not sufficient to actually consume this product. So I don't think Dangote is a problem.
Okay,
having Dangote in the market is a plus for the country. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sabi. All right. In closing, Mr. President, you wanted to.
It's a comment, not a question, and thank you all to the panel. A small apology. This particular panel session was meant to have a lead-in presentation, which would have generated the questions and also kind of provided some reason why the price volatility is there. I'm going to make a personal apology to Dr. Joseph Oni, who was here from Hydro-CIS. Please stand up to make the presentation. Even till last night, his presentation was getting made, but unfortunately, the sequence got mixed up. So apologies. But a lot of what he was going to draw out of his presentation, you have spoken to, and the reason why the volatility is there. The the point you made was more about the supply is not that significant when you think about it, but it's the suddenness of it coming on and going off, and the time to plan is the issue. Okay, that's one of the reasons why we're seeing volatility. The outcome of what we've been saying is that the real issue is about growing demand. If Dangote is 20% today and you double demand, it will be 10% tomorrow. That's less significant than it is today. Now, Dimeji Edwards has given me a charge, right, as the NLCGA, but I want to tie to all what you have been saying as well. It isn't that the association hasn't been doing anything. We have been doing some work, right down to the fact that even to get information out to Dangote, there's an opaqueness, which is what Nuhu Yakubu was speaking to. There's an opaqueness to information coming out of Dangote, to the extent that we have had to put people on the road to the refinery to count gas trucks so that we can have an idea of what the production is just from the movement in and out of the refinery. We can work better than that in terms of amongst us collaboratively in the industry. So yes, we're willing to sit with Dangote. It's not that we haven't tried. But in fact, they were meant to be the lead presenter for this particular session. We will continue to make overtures to Dangote, but also we would urge everyone, the issue is about growing demand. If we get to 3 million tons, the impact of what the refinery can do is no longer as significant as it is today. So that's the closing remark I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we're out of time. Thank you very much, and we can continue the conversation. But before then, sorry, Mr. President, can the presentation, Felix, can they share the presentation so that at least people get the benefit of all right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for adding your voices to the conversation. Thank you for sharing from your wealth of personal and professional experience. Thank you. Paparazzi, that is your cue. Let's have that group photograph. Let's have the plaques and the gift bags, please. Thank you. All right, so that has been session 4. Dangote Refinery, local production, paradigm shift, and impact. And yes, it has been a very robust discussion. We've had conversations around the subject matter, and we've listened to viewpoints, perspectives, and opinions from all of our panelists. All right, so we still have one final photograph, this time with the plaques and gift bags. All our panelists, please don't be in a hurry to leave the stage. We still have one final photograph with the plaques and gift bags. Mr. President, NLCJ, please don't leave yet. We still have one final photograph with the plaques and gift bags. Thank you. Yes, one with, one without. That's the sequence. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, that has been session 4, Dangote Refinery, local production, paradigm shift, and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. The final session for day 1 of the 15th NLCGA conference and exhibition. Don't be in a hurry to leave. The program has not ended yet, okay? Don't worry, the program hasn't ended yet, all right? If you can see what's happening on the stage, we are just moving those chairs out so that everyone can see the screen. A video is going to come on the screen right about now, and that is just a preview of today's activities and proceedings. So ladies and gentlemen, there is still going to be another video at the end of tomorrow's proceedings. So yes, that will be the full video. So today's proceedings will just show up on the screen in a preview video. So please do not forget, the conference continues tomorrow. Please be on time so that we can start very early tomorrow. 8 to 10 exhibition area visit, 10 to 10:05 we start with the national anthem. So please be on time tomorrow morning as we come for day 2. All right, let's have the video. Thank you very much. It is a Brevity Anderson production. Please, a round of applause for them. And that's an overview of today's proceedings. So if by any chance you didn't see yourself in that video, don't worry. There's still an opportunity for the full version tomorrow. In the meantime, you can file your complaints. The media content team is right there at the back. That's us on a lighter note. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That has been day one. And yes, NLCJ Conference and Exhibition, the 15th in this series. The meal is already served, so please, as you step out, remember, do not leave your personal possessions right here in the hall. Ensure you leave with your personal items. Please come on time tomorrow so we can commence at 10 sharp. Some of the activities for tomorrow, we already had them today, so tomorrow should be a day for swift movement. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As you step out of the hall, please remember to leave with your personal possessions. Area where the meal will be served is on the right-hand side of the exhibition area. Enjoy your meal and see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming to day one of the 15th NLCJ Conference and Exhibition. See you tomorrow. Thank you.